Hey everybody, it is Transformation Tuesday. Here in Indiana, as I'm looking around, I'm beginning to see the leaves of the trees just beginning to change colors. They're mostly green still. However, I have one in front of my house where the top is just lots of reds and yellows. And it just reminds me of the season, right? Of fall and this time of letting go and going within and releasing, which is so much about what transformation is. It's so much about releasing and letting go. In the transformation process, we get to explore what works, what doesn't, and what we're going to do about that, right? Recently, I had a friend who was is considering retiring a bit early and feeling very, very just not knowing what to do. And they do think that they'll be able to. However, the question occurred to them, I retire, I've been doing this for all of my life, then what? And it reminded me of when I was beginning my self-discovery process. And it really wasn't until I had the space and it wasn't until I had the capacity to be able to really explore who I am. I had no clue. At that time, it was a really long time ago. It was in the early 2000s when I finally as a sing I was a single mom, and I worked 60, 70, 80 hours a week normally. Those are my normal hours. I didn't know what it was like to have any time to myself. All of my time was spent working, providing, taking care of my girls. You know, that's what all of my time was done. So I had no idea as to anything about me. I just knew that I needed to work in order to survive. And so when I actually had the space in my life to be able to, where I actually had evenings and weekends off, and it was just very surreal to me at the time. I didn't have a clue what life was like having a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday job that was so foreign to me. And it took it took a little bit of time to settle into that. And then I began to really begin my process, my transformation process. And one of a friend of mine at the time had suggested this book. It's called Something More, Excavating Your Authentic Self. I know it's showing up backwards here, but you can get the idea. And the author is Sarah Van Breckeneth. And she wrote Simple Abundance, which is also really good. And so I recently purchased this book again because I must have given my most recent copy away. It's a book that I've given away many times over the years. And what I really loved about this book was it gave me a process to be able to explore myself. It gave me different activities and things that I could try. Um, that I hadn't really thought about before. And so, what I can say as far as self discovery is we're always learning who we are, we're always unfolding. The layers of the onion never stop layering, you know? Here I am 20, 22 years later, and I can say with authority that I know myself. However, it doesn't mean that I'm not still learning and growing. So the process, it takes time. It takes time. So one of the things that I did at that time, one of the steps that I did, was I really wanted to have this process of learning who I was. And so what I would do is I love journaling. And so what I would do is I would make a note. I would in my daily journals, I would make my daily observations of this really stood out to me. This really resonated with me. This brought joy to my heart. This, was something that I didn't think that I liked, but I did. Whatever it was. So I was in this constant discovery process. And I would say that I was there for several months at least, maybe even, a year or more, of just really beginning to identify the things that bring me joy, the things that make my heart leap, skip. Um, Hearing a child laugh, for an example, always brings me joy. Seeing an older couple together, obviously very much in love, brings me joy. I learned along the way how much I really love art. And so, what I would do early on as I was going through this process of self discovery is I would have dates that I would take myself to the art museum and just really have that quiet time for me to be able to explore and enjoy. And as I was looking at the various paintings or sculptures or whatever it may have been, I would ask myself, what is it that I like about this? What is it that I don't like about this? Um, it's just this constant unfolding. We are constantly unfolding. We are constantly emerging. And so, if you are at the beginning of this process, I recommend the book. Even if you don't get the book, I recommend making note of the things that bring you joy, observing it, see how you feel. Maybe it's, maybe part of it is if you're in a feeling like, you just need to let things go. One of the things that I learned early on is there may be people in my life that I may feel happy, I may feel joyful. However, as soon as I get in their presence, that goes away. And, after enough times, I realized, I just do better without this person in my life. And so, therefore, I just made a point not to be around that person because, you know, if they're bringing me down and I'm looking to try to discover the things that bring me joy and happiness, then unless I need to be around them, I'm not going to be. So it can be little things like that. It can be, you know, exploring new flavors. Let's say you go to the ice cream shop and you've never tasted pistachio, for an example. Be adventurous, give it a try. You might like it. Little things along the way. Don't limit yourself. It's an unfolding process. As you're going through and moving through your day to day, make a note of things that you would like to try, things that you would like to do. Make a note of how you feel around certain places or people or things. Make a note of, does this thing bring you in or does it pull you away? Our body, is pretty brilliant that way of being able to, we can feel it, we can sense it. It also, this process absolutely helps you be more in tune with your body and the discovery, that you're going through the discovery process. And so it's a great way to be able to tap into your inner wisdom as well. So the more that you can learn who you are and what lights you up, the more you can live and walk in those states more often. And that's certainly not to say you should avoid anything that's negative. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm simply talking about discovering who you are so that you can be more in alignment with who you are. And it's a day-to-day process. So what I would really like to hear is I would like to hear if you've gone through this process before, what's worked for you. If you are new to this process, what things you feel like trying out and trying on. And so leave some comments for me. Reach out to me. Let me know how it goes for you. This also works. I have someone very close to me who's feeling very, very depressed right now. And this is something that I had suggested to them as well, is being able to go through this process. So even if it's not just for self-discovery, even if it's just wanting to remember what happiness feels like, you can do the same thing. Find the things that bring you joy and do more of that. It's the little things, you know? So hopefully you found this helpful. If you have, please like, subscribe, share, and I'll have some more for you in the days to come. Take care, y'all.